Hi, my name is Kat and I explore stories in books, movies, games and real life. Today I will talk about the long-time reading project of mine, the Famous Five series. Let's start at the beginning. When I was a little kid, my mom gave me my first own library card and that started me on the reading journey. And one of the things I found there was the Famous Five series. Back then I read all of the books I could find at the library. A few years ago I rediscovered the series and decided that I wanted to reread all of the books. That's when I discovered a few interesting facts about the series that I didn't previously know. So first of all, originally this series was written by Enid Blyton. Between 1942 and 1963, she wrote 22 books for this series. However, there are currently a lot more books than 22. How did that happen? So, for Enid Blyton, the series was finished, at least as far as I know. In 1971, Claude Voilier, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I don't speak French, started writing more books for this series. In total he wrote 24 books between 1971 and 1985. In 1977 and 1979, two more books were published under the name of Brigitte Blobel. Those are called the ghost books because they didn't have the proper rights, so they had to be taken off the market and now can't be found anywhere. But that was not always the series, because in 2005 Sarah Bosse continued on. She wrote 29 more books in German. And then in 2016 Bruno Vincent also wrote some books, I think in English language originally. Those are more of a continuation because the Famous Five are grown up in his books. I am not sure if I want to read those. So what are the books about anyway? The Famous Five are 4 kids and a dog, 2 girls, 2 boys, 2 brothers, a sister and a cousin, and they solve crimes or mysteries or lost things, and they get into trouble. They are all pretty short, middle grade, about 150 pages each. So how is my project going? This is not the start of my project, I'm already in the middle of it. At first I planned to read them all in chronological order, which started out pretty good because most of the first few books were available at the virtual library. But later on I started to have troubles finding the books, especially when I got into the French translated books by Claude Voilier. Also, not all of them are translated, so I had to skip a few anyway. Talking about skipping books, there's also a few I couldn't find or read. There's 2 books by Enid Blyton I can't find. One of them is made of several short stories and the other one is a script for a theater play. I already mentioned the ghost books. Obviously I can't read them either, except maybe if I find them somewhere in the future. So how far along am I with the project? Of the Enid Blyton books, I have one more on my list which I currently own. It is a choose your own adventure book. I'm excited to read it. I read 13 of the Claude Voilier books. 6 I can't read because they are not yet translated to German or English. They are only available in French. There are 5 more I can potentially read, but I first have to find them at the library or at the second-hand shop or somewhere else. So I don't currently own them. The Sarah Bosse books are originally written in German, so that's not a problem. And most of them are also available at the library. I just barely started reading her books. So far I've read only 4 of her books. What I can say so far about the series is that I still love the Enid Blyton books. They remind me of childhood and they were just so fun to read. I loved how she wrote about all the nice food they always ate. They always had these grand picnics and stuff, and she always described very well what they all got for delicacies. The mysteries themselves were also very creative, or at least believable and fun to read. The Claude Voilier ones, on the other hand, are a different story. He kind of left out all the delicious food mostly. They were only side notes. And the dynamics between the children changed a lot too. They weren't as friendly with each other anymore. And they were pretty mean sometimes. And also suddenly one of them started to go off on their own. In comparison to before, they mostly did everything together and decided together what to do. Also some of the mysteries were a little over the top and not very believable. I can't say much about the Sarah Bosse ones so far because I've only read a few, but so far it feels much more like the original ones. And you can feel that they are on one hand much newer, and also that they are not translated, and they feel much more like the original ones, in that the children are a team again and they talk to each other nicely again. The mysteries are nice, not too predictable, but also believable. So in total so far I read of the 70 books 37. That makes a percentage of about 53%. If I subtract all the books I can't read because they are not available or because they are not translated, we are at 61 books, and that makes a percentage of 60.6%. This means I'm on a good way, but I still have some books to go. If you're a productivity nerd just like I am, then you might want to know how I track all these books. So at first I had an Excel sheet where I noted all the books and the numbers because they change, and I cross them off once I read them. This year I decided to also make myself a bullet journal, especially a reading journal, in which I made a spread for this challenge. I printed all of the covers on sticker sheets and now I can stick them in. I just figured out that I must have forgotten a few because some of the ones I've read are not in my stickers. But that's all for today. If you want to get an update on this project, write me down in the comments, like the video, subscribe if you like, and happy reading!